Hello, everyone. Welcome back into another episode of In the Bonus. Isis Young and myself, Megan Caffrey, we're so happy to be joined with you for another week of talking some Big East women's basketball. But first, Ice, you were so busy this weekend. You had two games and a little bit of studio stuff, or was it just two games that you had?
Yeah. Two studio during the week and then two games during the weekend. Good stuff though, like all good basketball. I saw a St. John's men's basketball team make 18 threes at home, which was lights out. And then went on the road, Notre Dame at Clemson. So got to see the number three team in the country and Notre Dame without Hannah Hidalgo for a game who was resting. And so it was nice to see them without her, honestly, and to, see them overcome a challenge. And then back in the studio this week and then two more games. So it's rolling.
Love it. And honestly, let's not lie, you were able to escape the cold for a little bit.
A little bit,
We'll take
yes.
a little bit of warmth compared to like the 10-degree weather we're having in Jersey. I'll take it.
It's brutal out here. It is. It's so cold.
But in Big East, there were a couple of really big games this past weekend. And now, as we're in another week, we've got two undefeated teams in league play left. We've got UConn and Creighton, who are both 6-0 now in conference play.
Yeah, and not really a surprise, right? I think going into the season, we knew that these two teams were going to be strong. Both teams have been through a little adversity, maybe, looking different this year and playing without some players. Obviously, for UConn, they've been without Paige Beckers for the last week, so she hasn't played since January 5th. She missed their game versus Xavier and Georgetown, but the Huskies took care of business and did what they were supposed to do, and were on the road for that game at Georgetown as well. So a good week for them.
And I'm really impressed with Creighton. I was able to see them live this past weekend when they played Seton Hall. And first and foremost, the game was incredible. Seton Hall and Creighton, I think, always put up such a great fight with one another. But this Creighton team there are high expectations of the Jays
Yeah.
coming into this season, right? Because it's like they didn't lose much, right? And
Right.
I think they are living up to those expectations. And it's awesome. And talking with them, right? There's that just greatness, that the want for greatness there. They're always wanting to get better. But I think Morgan Molly, she's playing some of her best basketball. She earned Big East Player of the Week this past week. And I think what's underrated though is her defense, especially seeing them
Mm.
live ice. She is a fierce defender. And I think we sometimes lose sight of that because she is such an offensive firehouse, or firepower. It was really, really fun to watch what she's able to do on defense.
Yeah, and that's not surprising to me at all. And covering this team the past couple of years and being around her, she's a competitor. She wants to win. She also has experience playing 3x3 with FIBA. And so when you're playing 3v3, you get exposed if you're not a good defender because it's so easy to see who's not covering, who's not tagging, or who's not communicating. And so I'm sure also that experience over the summer has helped her become a better defender this year. So that's great to see. I love that observation, Meg. I'm all about the defense, so I love it.
All right, Ike, let's have some fun. Okay, let's go into, I think this is becoming kind of like a new favorite segment, our three
Yeah.
minutes and three questions. Okay, so I'm going to put you on the spot first, girl, for our first one. All right, here's your question. How important is AZ Fudd to UConn's success?
Yeah, uber important would be my answer. First, just getting a veteran player, one of the best shooters in the country when she is in rhythm and on the court and healthy, getting her back for this team has been huge. She recently played her first 30-minute game since being back. She played 32 minutes at Georgetown. And hey, just being someone who has been through, several injuries, especially knee injuries, being able to play that much time on the court and feeling comfortable and confident in your body is a huge accomplishment in the rehab process and in getting back to who she is. And so it was great to see her shoot 8 of 13 from the field. She knocked down 5 threes as well. Again, she is a lights out shooter. So it's in her DNA and it's what she needs to do for the Huskies, especially with Paige that's resting right now and recovering and getting back. They need someone to pick up that scoring. And so AZ has been able to do that back-to-back games where she scored 23 points and 21 points. And so honestly, just so good to see her healthy and on the floor, but she needs to be a scorer for this team if they want to get to back to a Final Four and potentially win a national championship. They need all the offensive firepower that they can have.
Amen on that.
Okay, Meg, second question for you. What do you think Marquette's ceiling is? They are coming off a big win versus Villanova, and Skylar Forbes didn't play in that game. So the team really rallied and was able to get a big win over the Wildcats.
I think Marquette's ceiling is kind of unknown right now. And I think that that's a positive about them. I think that they are really starting to come together as their own, especially you're without your leading scorer, and all of these other players are stepping up. Players that especially weren't even starting or getting much playing time last year, right? And I think it's really exciting to see the success that Marquette is having right now when you do have new leadership, right? With a
Mm.
brand new head coach this upcoming season. And they're getting into rhythm potentially earlier than what I think that they would have thought that they would get into the rhythm, right? So early on in conference play, having this type of success, and that game against Villanova was the perfect example of it. You're down by 13 points in the third quarter without your leading scorer, and you're having all of the other pieces of the puzzle really start to level up. I mean, I think you really have to give Hallie Weiss a ton of credit there.
Mm.
Double double of the season. She had a career high 20 points, career high 12 rebounds. So she's just been lights out. And their defense is one of the best in the conference. And I know we love defense, Ice.
Yes. Yeah, we talked about that the last time. But I mean, in this conference, like, especially when you travel on the road, defense has to travel. It will give you a chance to stay in the game if you know that you can get consecutive stops when you need to, or if you can win the rebounding battle. So I love that the Golden Eagles have continued that philosophy, right? It existed when Megan Duffy was here
Yeah.
before, and they've continued to be a defensive staple in this league.
All right. Question number three, Ice. How impressed are you with Taylor Johnson Matthews of DePaul and the recent success that DePaul is having? They're finding their team that's finding their rhythm recently.
Yeah, and it's so good to see it. First, we wish Doug Bruno the best. We, hope that he's okay and doing well. But man, it's a team that is on a 3-game win streak right now, which is the first time they've had that all season. And Taylor Johnson Matthews has been the engine, the fuel. But what a lethal 3-point shooter she is. In their games and their wins versus St. John's and Xavier, she knocked down 5 triples each game, like going 5 of 10. I really love her consistency and how she hunts her shots, meaning that she knows that she's lights out from three. So when there's an offensive rebound and a scramble, she's getting to the 3-point line quickly and she's showing her hands ready to knock down shots. I also thought in both of those games that kind of went down to the wire in the fourth quarter, she showed up like she was scoring the basketball in consecutive plays, particularly during the St. John's game. She was posting up smaller guards, which again, she's predominantly known as a shooter, but is then showing us that she can really be a scorer and finding different ways to score the basketball. So I've enjoyed watching her versatility on the floor. And I think that her and the duo with, Jory Allen is something that
Yes.
maybe we need to talk a little bit more about in the Big East. I think those two are two high IQ players, versatile scorers that are getting things done right now for DePaul, and a very good stretch for them.
Ooh, I love it. And DePaul will have Wednesday afternoon. They've got an early game against Villanova. They're on the road, 11:30 a.m. At the Finneran Pavilion, and I believe that that might be the day game where all the kids from school get to come in. And I don't know if you've ever worked one of those games, Ice, or you probably have. They are
Yeah.
so much fun. And it's like, it's so funny listening to the comparison where you're at a packed arena on like a Friday night, right? And that sounds so fun. But the screams and the shrieking of little grammar school kids at 11:30 in the morning it's a whole different type of fandom, which is really fun.
It's the shrieking. It's the shrieking. It's not even the screams, it's the shrieks but yes, it is a good time. It's tons of energy early in the day. You don't need coffee that day. You can just go and feed off the kids.
100%, 100%. And this upcoming weekend, we've got a pretty packed Saturday, especially of Big East women hoops. We've got four games on the docket on Saturday, and then there is a game on Sunday. So let's just kind of go rapid fire here, Ice. I want to hear who you're kind of high on, who you're looking at. We'll each kind of pick our winners for the weekend, if you will. We're on the hot seat now.
Perfect.
All right, we're going to start one of the first games of the weekend on the Big East Digital Network. Villanova heads to St. John's. Who do you have in this one?
I think I have St. John's winning at home, protecting home court.
Yeah, I've got St. John's as well. Lachey Dwyer is playing some really, really good basketball.
Mm.
Also at 2 p.m., we 2 p.m. Eastern time, Butler and Xavier. Who are you choosing in this one?
I'm going with Butler. I think that they can pull that out.
I'm going underdog here. I'm going to go for
Ooh.
the Musketeers. 2 p.m. Eastern Time, the last one starting at 2 p.m. with this tip on the BEDN. Georgetown heads up to Providence. Who do we have in this one?
Yeah, this is going to be a good matchup. Probably a lot of defense. I think I'm going to take the Georgetown Hoyas. I think them going on the road, traveling with their defense. Expect Kelsey Ransom to have a good game.
It's hard for me to go against Kelsey Ransom in this,
I
especially with
know.
us talking, right? Like Georgetown is a defense that travels really well.
Mm.
However, I think Providence, they're at home. I think they've got this one under their belts. DePaul at Creighton at 3 p.m. Eastern Time wraps up the afternoon of Saturday hoops. Who do you got in this one?
Yeah, Creighton. It's hard to win in Omaha, Nebraska. They play their best basketball at home.
The Jays are staying undefeated this weekend for me. I think, just like you said, they're home. Morgan Molly has been playing lights out. I'm not going to pass this one up on the Jays. Okay, so that's our games for Saturday. Sunday, there is one game on SNY. Seton Hall takes a trip to the sixth ranked Yukon Huskies at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Ooh, who are you choosing in this one?
I'm gonna go with the Huskies. I just think that they're rolling right now. They're undefeated and plan to stay that way. And especially at home, you want to protect home floor.
I'm not going to go against the Huskies in this one. However, I do think Seton Hall, especially after seeing them play on Saturday, this team is, you can, as you're watching them play, you can see the buy-in. There is so
Mm,
much buy-in with this team, and Faith Masonis is playing really, really well. Jada Eads is a little firepower. So I think UConn will win, but I do think that this one will be a battle.
yeah.
And finally, where are you headed to this weekend?
This weekend, I'm headed to Richmond. I have VCU at Richmond women's basketball, and then I go to Rhode Island after that. And on Tuesday, I think VCU men's basketball at Rhode Island. So
All
a
right,
lot of
girl.
A10 this weekend. Yeah, yeah.
But a little bit, we escape a little bit to get at least warmth in Richmond for a little, and then
I
back.
hope. Yes.
As always, this is so much fun. Thank you. This is always a blast. I'll see you next week, girl.